It's Saturday, January 15, 2022. A lot to talk about today. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. There are going to be people out there that, will be more concerned about me walking my dog, the shirt I'm wearing, the tie I'm wearing. I really worry about these people the most. If you're watching this channel and you're more worried about my dog or my dress code, it's too late for you. You're lost. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want you to watch. I do. And maybe some of this, maybe you'll pick up some knowledge watching this channel. Maybe you'll pick up some knowledge reading the comments down below. But to these people who are so concerned about my dog walking abilities, my ties, my shirts, you're going to be in big trouble. You really are. I feel sorry for you. There is so much more to worry about than my appearance or my dog. And you better start getting worried because the news continues. I mean, this stuff literally, it almost seems like it's coming out of an apocalyptic movie, especially what's happening right here in California. Another reason why I must get out of this state. And to the people out there who believe that I'm never going to leave, I'm leaving. I'm talking to real estate agents. We're looking at homes literally daily on the internet. But what you must understand is when you have family here, when you have a business here, you can't just up and leave in a week or 2 weeks. When you have obligations, responsibilities, you have to wrap that stuff up. And as soon as that's done, I'm out of here. I'm gone. The state of California is done. And I want to go back. We touched on this a little bit yesterday. Please check out yesterday's show. Go back to the previous show before yesterday when we were out in Long Beach, down at the terminal, down at the port, watching these massive cargo ships come in, the tankers coming in. You want to talk about losing the trade war? Watch that video. Look at the hundreds of thousands of containers piling up on the 7,000 acres of property down in San Pedro and Long Beach. Look at these massive, massive ships coming in with more cheap products from all over the world, unloading and going back empty. Take a look at what's really happening in your world. Don't worry about my tie. Don't worry about my dog. You better start worrying about what's happening to your country, to your economy, and to your futures. Look, I wish I could do more. I am so worried about the outcome of this economy and where this is all going and how bad this is going to get. You are all watching the same thing I'm watching when you turn on the television now, the grocery stores, seeing shortages. You're going to the grocery store, you're seeing the shortages. I went to a gas station the other day, they were out of gas. Okay, this is what is happening in the real world. My tie, my dog has nothing to do with what is about to happen. It blows my mind where their priorities are, what they worry about. And I worry about these people the most because they're the most unprepared. But I want to go back to yesterday. We just touched on the Union Pacific trains that were robbed in LA a couple days ago. And I was watching more videos on this and just looking at the amount of trash that was left on the side of the railroads. Whoever did this, and this had to be a large group of people. And by the way, it's come to my attention today, this is not the first time that these trains were looted. And it's like, where are we today? Is this the Wild West where they're just robbing trains now? But even back then, they didn't just take the trash and just leave it. It's just unbelievable when you really have to go and YouTube or Google these videos on what just happened out here in Los Angeles. The amount of trash that was just left on the side of these trains was incredible. And you talk about an environmental disaster. Just look at how people are just trashing this state. Garbage all over the freeways, infrastructure crumbling, trash all along the railway after they just robbed these trains, looted these trains, UPS packages, Amazon packages left on the ground. I mean, this obviously didn't just take like 3 minutes to do. It was a multitude of people. They had to have been there quite a while to do this kind of damage. But this is where we're living. This is Mad Max Thunderdome, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's like, am I living in the Wild West? And if it's happening here, trust me, it's going to be happening. It will head east. It will head to your cities. It's coming to a town near you. But it is unbelievable. So I was thinking today with the 125 cargo ships that were sitting off the coast here, right off of Long Beach a couple days ago, and numerous more sitting outside of the 40-mile mark. I mean, so there could be 200 ships off the West Coast right now. I don't have the number. If you do, comment down below. But there's a lot of ships out there just sitting there. They're going to be sitting there for months. When do they begin to rob these ships? When do they begin looting these cargo ships out in Long Beach? Now, soon they'll just be taking boats out there and robbing these ships. That's what's coming next. They're robbing delivery trucks. They're robbing trains. So why not begin to rob the cargo ships? That's coming next. I was at the gym today working out with a good friend of mine who works for the sheriff's department out here, and he told me now that we have a very popular hiking area about 10 minutes from where I'm sitting right here in Palm Desert. And he said that now that they are, while people are on these trails hiking, that people are smashing their windows of their cars while they're hiking and looting their cars. Also, we just had 3 individuals robbed some hikers at gunpoint just recently, firing off a round and then threatening these people and robbing them at a local hiking trail here. So this is what is happening. This is what's coming, and this is happening all over the place right now. And as this economy continues to suffer, this kind of stuff is going to get more and more common. And I sit here today. It's another beautiful day. People behind me playing golf, and everything's fine. But I cannot believe what is happening, especially right here in California. It is mind-blowing what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. Some very interesting data coming from Los Angeles. 1/3 of all restaurants in Los Angeles are now permanently closed. And when I read this, it's sad, it's frustrating. It's just another reminder of why myself personally and my family will be leaving the state of California. And we're going to see a mass exodus of people and businesses, I think, especially here in 2022 into 2023, get out of this state. And it's going to be a large number. There are people, I think, daily now talking to their families about an exit strategy, where they're going to go, when they're going to be leaving. Things are going to get much worse here in this state and many states across the country. California is considering doubling its taxes. And so we, at some point, could be lucky just to keep 20 cents of every dollar we make right here in California. And it's not going to affect the top 1%, but it is going to affect you, me, the middle class, the upper middle class, the poor, and everything in between. It's going to affect small business, the small business owners, and again, the middle class are really going to pay a price here, especially in a state like California. Top marginal rate on wage income could soar to 18.05%. The national rate is 5.3. They want to put it at 18.05%. They want to increase household taxes to $12,250. Can you imagine each household in California on average would have to pay $12,250? These are the new tax laws that they're trying to pass right now here in California. They want to raise $163 billion per year, more than double what they're taking in right now. So it is time to get out of here. This state will eat up your wages. It'll eat up your savings. It will eat up every penny you make, they want to take. And so it's another reminder to me of why I must get out of here. It's not even an option at this point. I am forced to leave the state. I don't want to be here. I'm not going to miss it. I think it's sad. It's a tragedy. It's absolutely repulsive how they ruined this state. But I have no choice. It's not a matter of me wanting to go or not want to go. I have to go. I will not be able to afford to live here. And the amount of crime, what it's doing to businesses, the overhead here, the taxes, there's nothing. There's no reason to be here. Yeah, the weather's nice, but the weather isn't going to pay my bills. Wolfstreet.com, shipping expenses in the U.S. go through the roof. Get this, shippers spent 43.6% more this past December than they did in December 2020, and 62.3% more than they did in December 2019. Now we're dealing with pirates, right? That they're looting and robbing trains and trucks, and soon it will be ships. And this all gets passed on to the consumer. We're all going to pay for this. And if you think it's a West Coast thing, it's not. It's happening all over the country. And but it seems like a lot of this type of crime is starting out here in California, the smash and grabs and what have you, and it's all been heading east. Supermarket slash hours as workers call out. Store shelves remain bare. Again, another sign of the times, ladies and gentlemen. And that really takes me into this next article. China is piling up unprecedented quantities of food. And it's inflating prices and dropping more countries into famine. 65% of the world's maize reserves, 60%, this is what they have. They're now holding 69% of the world's maize reserves, 60% of its rice, 51% of the world's wheat. You know, so going back to this other article with supermarkets slashing hours and food shelves remaining bare, this is a time to take a page out of what China is doing. Look, I think if more of us started thinking like China, we'd be much more prepared. They obviously know something is coming, and they are buying up as much food as they can. They are buying massive amounts of gold. So this is a good time to take a page out of China's book and do what China's doing. Buy food. Buy yourself some gold. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, what my friends are doing, and I'm thinking out loud today on this beautiful, gloomy day. But again, they are putting countries into famine because they don't care. They're going to buy up whatever they can so that they survive. 69% of the world's maize reserves, 60% of the world's rice, and 51% of the world's wheat. That should tell you something right there. These people who tell you that bad times are never coming, economic collapse is never coming, a dollar collapse is never coming, nothing to worry about, don't be paranoid, don't be negative. These people are drinking the Kool-Aid, ladies and gentlemen. These people have no idea what is going on. These are the zombies that you really need to distance yourself from. These are the people that I've said numerous times will be knocking at your door for help, for you to protect them, for you to feed them, for you to shelter them and their kids. These are the most unprepared people. Again, the people who worry about they don't like my tie or my shirt or my dog. These are the people who will be knocking at our doors, the most unprepared people. Again, if you have too much time to think about what I'm doing, how much money I make, if my dog can walk, listen, you better get your priorities straight. This video is for you. You better wake up. You better get your priorities straight right now. You better get your preparations in order. You better get right with God right now. Stop worrying about me. Stop worrying about your neighbors. Stop worrying about some celebrity on TV. Stop worrying about football and basketball. You better wake up, ladies and gentlemen. Stop worrying about other things other than yourself. It is time to worry about you. You need to get in better physical, mental, spiritual, and financial shape today. Start worrying about you and stop worrying about other people. Labor shortage hits CVS, Walgreens, forcing pharmacies to close early. What happens when those ships stop showing up with pharmaceuticals? What happens if the supply chain continues to break down and, there's less cranes unloading these ships and you can't get pharmaceuticals? We are so dependent on the world, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot even get our farmers tractor tires. Mechanics cannot get parts to repair cars. I've had numerous mechanics write me and say that business is booming, but we can't get the parts. So how do you run a business? Business can be booming, but how do you run a business if you don't have parts? If you have product and business is great and you sell it all out, you have no more product to sell. How do you stay in business? And so if you're a mechanic and you're super busy, but you can't repair cars because you don't have the alternator, the starter, the brake calipers, the spark plugs, well, you don't get paid. How do you stay in business? Yeah, it's great that there's a demand, but if you cannot take the job and finish it because you don't have parts, you don't get paid. And so that's going to be a very, very bad thing for business. It's very concerning. And this, if we cannot repair our trucks and keep trucks on the road, if we're not getting our mechanics parts to repair cars, people can't get their pharmaceuticals, the whole system, the whole economy shuts down, and it can shut down overnight. And just watching and adding 2 + 2 equals 4, right, ladies and gentlemen? We are running out of parts. We cannot unload these ships. We've got a massive supply chain disruption taking place. It's a supply chain disaster. And now we're being told that China will be closing ports and factories because of this health crisis. Well, it's bad enough that the ships are out there and we can't unload them. What happens if the ships just all of a sudden stop showing up and parts and pharmaceuticals don't show up? This would be catastrophic for our country and for our economy. Really, really bad. Another article today coming from The Hedge. Pilot shortage forces Delta and American Airlines to cut regional flights. Thousands of flights have already been canceled since Christmas Eve. 20,000 flights have been canceled. Delta will slash a quarter of its flights through the first half of this year. American is to drop 580 March flights at its wholly owned Piedmont Airlines, and a number of flights at its regional partners SkyWest Inc. and Mesa Air Group Inc. So this, I mean, all this stuff is connected, ladies and gentlemen. When you look at leisure and hospitality, the service sector out here, we rely a lot on resorts and the service sector because people fly in from all over the world into Palm Springs. They stay at the resorts. They come out, they golf, they hit the restaurants. Flights are being canceled. There's a fear. A lot of people fear just even going out today, let alone getting on an airplane and flying somewhere. And then you have thousands upon thousands of employees not showing up to work at the resorts, at the airlines, thousands of flights canceled. So I can tell you, it's very, very quiet here this year. This is, I would say, the most quiet I've ever seen the desert since I've lived here, going back to 2003. It is the most quiet I've ever seen it. And this is bad for the retailers. It's bad for the restaurants. It's just bad for the cities out here. It's bad for the golf courses, bad for the resorts, ladies and gentlemen. They rely, we are now coming into the height of our season here, and it is quiet, very, very quiet. So I just wanted to make this video today and really emphasize about prioritizing things, making certain things a priority and other things not a priority. And it's so important right now. Take a page out of what China is doing. They are buying gold. They are buying food. And I think that right now, if you're buying these two things, gold and food, I think you're making a very, very smart decision, and a decision that I think you'll never regret. If you have food and you have gold, I think that you're going to be a lot better off than a majority of this country. And again, this isn't financial advice. I don't give political advice. I don't give financial advice. I'm just sitting here thinking out loud. And no matter what happens politically, that's the least of your problems, because the problem you're going to be dealing with is going to be financial. It's going to be this economy. This economy is collapsing right before your very eyes. Yet we can blame this group, we can blame that group. It doesn't matter at this point. It's already over. The economy has already collapsed. And now we're going to see the effect of a collapsing economy in our daily lives, in our standard of living. It's going to affect everybody. And we can sit here and play the blame game, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to be responsible for you. You're going to have to rely on you. Your family is going to have to rely on you. And so we have some real serious decisions to make here, ladies and gentlemen. And you can be blowing your money on baseball games and football games and basketball games and big screen TVs and video games and drugs and things of that nature. Or you can be doing what China's doing. They're buying hard assets, like tangible hard assets like gold. They're buying food and they're stockpiling all this stuff. They know something. And we all better wake up. And we better know something. And we do know something. If you've been watching this channel, 98% of you know that we are heading into some very, very dark times. And if you're not prepared, if you're not reliant, if you're not critically thinking for yourself, you're going to be a victim of this collapse. And this collapse is going to victimize a lot of people, a lot of families. It's going to be sad. But right now, my advice to all of you is look out for yourselves, look out for your own families right now. Stop, there's no time to be blaming this party, that party, the banks, the hedge. It doesn't matter. It's already over, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, you need to have a life raft and be ready to utilize that life raft. To me, I don't watch football games or basketball games. The biggest game right now is this financial game, this economy. And I wish I could wake up more people. I wish I could do more for me, for other people. I'm doing the best that I can with what resources I have. And that's all you can do. Do the best that you can and really walk close to God, because you're going to need God to get through with what is coming. It's not all about just food and water and assets like gold or silver or security. You better be walking very, very close to God, because I see some very, very demonic things happening in the world today. I mean, that's what we really have. We have to call it what it is. It's very, very demonic. We have very demonic people controlling and sitting in very high places, controlling things. And they don't really care what happens to most people. And you really got to get close to God. I'm going to leave it there today. Have a great weekend and just get out and prepare a little bit. And I think you're going to be very, very happy that you did. God bless.